Hi everybody, how's it going? Mark here. Hello, and this is part 3 of my big comic book haul that I picked up on Thursday and Friday. What will be now last week. It's now 12:30 at night on Friday night. I've just done the first 2 videos that you've probably already seen, hopefully. I'm now on the 3rd video, which is going to be the first video for the first half of the DC comics that I picked up from that bundle. Just a quick recap. This is a load of comics that I picked up from a local bookshop. A local bookshop in the town that I'm living in, or living near, and they do 2 comics in each pack. You can see what the covers are. And so there's not really much surprise in what comics you're getting, but sometimes you get 2 comics that you want, sometimes you get a comic that you want and a comic that you might not want, and sometimes you get a comic that you want and a comic you've already got. In that case, 99p for a comic that you want isn't bad. Yeah, excuse the voice because it might sound a little bit croaky. That's because excuse the noise over that side because that's the rats just going mental. Behave yourselves, you lot. Yeah, excuse the croaky voice because this is the 3rd video that I've done in a row. You lot have had a chance to sit down, relax, do a few things and sleep. I've just gone straight through with these ones. This is like doing Back to the Future 2 and 3 for me. Right, without further ado, I shall crack on with these ones. These are all, or if I remember correctly, these are all DC comics anyway. This is the first half. We'll start off with Primal Force number 9. Now this was, I suppose you could say it's a bit like Justice League Dark is now. You've got characters from the supernatural sort of side of the DC universe, the dark side of the DC universe, if you will. Although why supernatural would be dark, but there. So you add characters like a modern day version of Claw the Unconquered, Red Tornado, Jack-O-Lantern, and a couple of other characters that they created specifically for this title. So there you go, Primal Force number 9. And we have, way before the terrible Suicide Squad comic that we've got now, there was another series of Suicide Squad that was written by John Ostrada, and it was really good. It was like superheroes, but it was like a cross between the DC universe and James Bond, I suppose you could say, because it's like it was superheroes that were put into situations where normal superheroes or the American government couldn't actually go in to situations, so they went in and they were completely expendable. If they were captured, they were denied all knowledge of anything, really. And this is Suicide Squad, issue 53. Next up we have Vigilante, issue 8. By written by Marv Wolfman. We have Green Arrow, issue 26. And this and the Question series that come out around about the same time as this were really good. They were like it's like crime stories. Not much really in the way of superhero stories. You could have quite easily have had the characters like Oliver Queen or Vic Savage as just detectives, doing stuff. It just so happened that Oliver Queen was Green Arrow and Vic Savage was the Question. But yeah, this was a really good series. Green Arrow. We have Doc Savage number 1 from the DC First Wave. Oop, sorry, slapping my computer back. Another really good series from DC at the time. Jerry Ordway written Power Shazam. This is number 18. It has some really beautifully painted covers on there as well for this series. Another good series from DC that was short-lived. I believe this was Steve Niles' first series for DC that he brought out. It's Simon Dark, issue 4. Now, I read a couple of comics from here, and it always reminded me of The Crow for some reason. I don't know why. It had that sort of feel about it to me, my own opinion. And this next comic in the late 80s, around about 88, 89, DC decided to bring back the Jack Kirby universe, which comprised of Mr. Miracle, New Gods, Forever People, and all these characters like that. And this was written by Jim Starlin and artwork by Paris Cullins, and this is New Gods issue 3. I'll just show you a bit of interior artwork in it. Trying very hard to be like Jack Kirby, but I'm sorry, nobody can draw like Jack Kirby. Many people have tried and they've all failed. Nobody can draw like Jack Kirby could. Yeah. Still a nice little series, but and nothing wrong with the artwork, but just not Jack Kirby artwork. We've got issue 8 of The Monolith, which, if I remember correctly, was about a girl who had a golem, and a golem is a creature that's created from clay that's I believe in the Hebrew myth, the Jewish myth. If you want to learn any more about golems, not Gollum as in Gollum from Lord of the Rings, but golems as in the Jewish golem, Google it. Everything's on the internet now. So okay, Monolith number 8. There was a really good movie from 1920s, black and white, silent, called The Golem. It's a German movie, really good. If you can find it, I think it might be in public domain now, but if you can find it, it's really good. Watch it. And next up we have New Gods issue 2. That had Orion on the front cover. Another Primal Force, issue 8. Yeah. We've got one of the many incarnations of Legion of Superheroes, and this is Legion of Superheroes issue 101, with a scene that has been seen many a times in Legion of Superheroes comics. I think every incarnation of the Legion of Superheroes has this scene in it somewhere. A really nice cover, actually. Next up, in 1998, DC Comics brought out a series of one-shot comics which highlighted female characters of the DC universe, not necessarily ones that had been in comics for that long or had their own comics, but ones that they felt needed to be brought a bit further into the limelight, sort of thing. it was a series of comics called Girl Frenzy. You had the body doubles from Resurrection Man, the series that was out there in the first series. You had a group of women called the Ravagers that had something to do with the Birds of Prey. You had a mini-series with Batgirl in it. And what else is there? Try to look back. Oh yeah, James Robinson's Starman. There was a comic for the character in there called The Mist. Oh, and as well as that, they also had, when Grant Morrison wrote the JLA, the first few issues of that, there was a character called Tomorrow Woman. It was very short-lived. She was an android created by T.O. Morrow, who was supposed to be a bit like Amazo, that was supposed to destroy the Justice League, and she ended up turning into a bit of a vision and not destroying the Justice League and becoming a hero. And they also had a one-shot issue for her as well. And also, when they had Young Justice, they had The Secret, which was a girl that was like this sort of ghost spirit sort of girl. And they also had a one-shot with Donna Troy. This is none of those. This is Girl Frenzy, Lois Lane, issue 1. Yep. Right, moving right along, we have VIXEN, Return of the Lion, issue 5 or 6. Really nice cover there for that comic. And with these comics, you've got to pick up an Arak, and this is Arak Son of Thunder issue 3, with the first appearance of Iron Maiden. I'm not too sure if I've got this one or not. I think I might have already got this one, but I shall double check that in my cataloguing. And next up we have issue 2 of Judd Winnick's 12 issue mini-series or maxi series Caper, and that's definitely a very Clockwork Orange inspired cover, I think, by the looks of it. Next we have issue 4 of Arion the Immortal, and in this version of the DC universe, when this was about, which was in early 1990s, 92, they had Power Girl, and they were trying to figure out how she fit into the DC universe. She was no longer Superman's cousin on Earth 2 because Earth 2 don't exist anymore. So they turned around and said that she was from Atlantis, and she had been put into a capsule as a baby just as Atlantis was sinking, and she was put in suspended animation, but she slowly grew up in suspended animation. When she awoke, she was a fully grown woman, and she became Power Girl. And in this version of Power Girl, Arion the Immortal was her grandfather or great-grandfather. I think that's a really nice cover. I think with this miniseries they were trying to get him to be like the DC version of Doctor Strange, if I remember right. That's a pretty cool cover. Next we have Hawk and Dove 26, and no Rob Liefeld in sight. Huzzah! We have Anima number 13. Now Anima was a character that came out of a set of comics that was a crossover for DC Comics in, when would that have been, about 1994, and it was a series called Bloodline, and it was about a group of alien parasites that come down from space, and they would attack people and suck the spinal fluid out of them and killing them. Now there was a few people that these parasites didn't kill, and when they had their spinal fluid taken out of them, the saliva in the parasites' mouths woke up their metagene, which was DC's answer to Marvel Comics' mutant gene, the Gene X gene. And it was what all heroes in the then DC universe had, which gave them their superpowers, which was metagene. This is, like I said, Anima number 13. I can't remember much of this character. What I can remember is she was a girl who could create an energy being, which was this big monster that would, do her bidding, sort of thing, if I remember correctly from the few issues that I've read of it. Excuse me. It was very short-lived. It only went on for about 20 issues, I think. And I think Anima was one of the characters that was in an adventure comic that had Superboy Prime in it, where Superboy Prime was on Earth Prime, and all the characters that he killed in Infinity Crisis come back to life as Black Lanterns and attacked him. And I think a lot of the characters from the Bloodline heroes were in there, and I think Anima was one of those ones. There you go. And we have Hawk and Dove number 9. We have another Legion of Superheroes comic, this time just called The Legion, number 27, and that's Clark Kent Superboy on the front cover. This was around about the time of the last reboot they had, which was after Infinite Crisis, where Superman was Superboy. He was Superboy before Crisis on Infinite Earths. Then Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, and Superboy was never. Clark Kent was never Superboy. He just was Superman. And then after Infinite Crisis, everything reverted back to Clark Kent being Superboy. And yeah, it's confusing, but still not as confusing as the DC universe now. So, and that's only been going on for what, 10 months. So, but there you go. Next up we have Vigilante number 2. Pretty cool cover there. Faces of Evil. This is just a cover. Faces of Evil was just a little cover thing that DC Comics did at the time, where they had supervillains showcased on the front covers of the comics rather than the heroes. So yeah, not much really to do with the actual story inside, but nice idea. Another Legion of Superheroes comic. This is issue 38. There you go, quite mangerish that one. And we have Strange Adventures number 2 of an 8-issue miniseries, and it was a strange adventure, very peculiar. You had characters in there like Captain Comet, Adam Strange, and the Bizarro Superman. You also had characters in there like the Weird, which was a creation that would come around about 1988, I think it was. Yeah, very peculiar. And here you go, the Forever People, issue 4. This one was by J.M. DeMatteis, and again with artwork from Paris Cullen. I've always wondered what happened to the artists that you don't hear of nowadays. I mean, Paris Cullen, when was the last time they done any artwork for comic books now? Are they still alive? I might have to Google it, see what Wikipedia says. A really good series from the 80s from DC Comics, and this is The Spectre number 31. And finally, last comic for this video is Gunfire #4. And he was another one of the Bloodline superheroes that was bitten by the alien parasite. And his powers was he could take anything and turn it into a weapon. But once he'd used the energy in the actual item, it turned to dust. So he'd pick up a brick, shoot an energy beam out of it, and he'd end up with just grey dust in his hands after doing such a thing. So yeah, that's all that lot for the third video. I'm just now going to do the fourth and final video. It's about 10 to 1 in the morning now, so we'll see how that one goes. I might do it later on tomorrow actually, so you never know, you might see me in a different shirt. That'd be interesting. That's going to have this little lot in it, and I might still break this lot down and make a 5th video. I'll see how it goes. Right, thank you all for watching. I hope this wasn't too boring for anybody out there, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you everybody for subscribing. As I always say with these videos, if you know anything more about these comics, or if I've said anything wrong, or you want to add anything to them, to my comments, put it down in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, thumbs up, brilliant. If you didn't like the video, then carry on, thumbs it down. But as I always say, if you didn't like the video, say why you didn't like the video. Don't just thumbs down and run off. You know, that's not what men do. That's not what big boys do. You know, stand up for yourself. Sorry. Yeah, anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, take care. Ta-ta, and see you soon. Ta-ta for now.